We're going to turn towards the research and insights presentation of the day. And we did a quite a big, robust study on marketer ROI. And following on Jeff's trends comments, we wanted to talk about how some of those trends are affecting what you do in your job day to day. And one of the questions that we wanted to answer was, what are some of the top insights regarding marketer ROI today in higher education? And we wanted to share that all with you today. But let's be honest, and let's talk a little bit about the trends and the macro factors that are surrounding what you do every day in your respective offices and institutions. And let's be frank, it's a challenging time to be a higher ed marketer these days. As a former higher education marketer, and a little bit of way of background, I previously was a head of marketing for a proprietary online college, and I can empathize and understand a lot of the challenges that a lot of you are going through today. One of the two key stats that we found that are surrounding our industry today is that 58% of the population in North America with only some college now think that a four-year degree is no longer worth the cost. That's over half of the addressable audience that we're trying to engage and attract, either in an undergraduate capacity or in a graduate capacity. And that number for those folks with only a high school diploma, startlingly similar. According to Inside Higher Ed, on the right, only a third of colleges and universities met their enrollment targets this year. So if you look to your right and you look to your left, only one of you is hitting plan. But it's not all doom and gloom. In crisis truly does lie opportunity. And I think that's a quote from Albert Einstein. We know that in 2015, 55% of four-year degree holders held a well-paying job. Now, that's defined as above the median, and that job is not going to be automated in the future. And that trend has accelerated since the early 90s when it was only 40%. So what's the so what here? The so what is that increasingly, you need to have a four-year degree, and most likely a graduate degree, to remain competitive and viable in this economy. And that's where all of us come in, because if there's a perception issue, then that's up to us to change it and to show why the value is there. We also know that folks with graduate degrees fare the best. And those with master's degrees, according to the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics, have the lowest unemployment rate, and they have the highest median weekly earnings. So if it's a perception issue around value, and we're not hitting our enrollment targets, how can LinkedIn help? And given this macro environment and trends, what can we do to work with all of you? We believe it starts with our mission, and our mission is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Everything that we do for all of our members and for all of our customers and our partners tries to align and tie back to this mission. Many of you know that LinkedIn is the largest community of professionals at scale globally. We just crossed the 500 million member mark globally. I believe it's at 530 million today, a little over that. And more than that, we have over 50 million students and recent college grads on the platform. It's one of the fastest growing demographics on the platform today. And we believe that you can market to who matters on our platform. We believe that only LinkedIn provides this unique combination of three benefits. You can find these benefits elsewhere, of course, but only together in these three we believe that they're on LinkedIn. So one is you can reach a higher quality prospect for your future admissions and enrollment cycles. And LinkedIn's platform is aspirational and professional, and you can align your marketing efforts and creative to a professional mindset. People are going to LinkedIn to understand what's going on in their industry, to understand the current trends that are going on in their professional workspace. They're looking to find their next play and their next career opportunity. And a lot of that feeds into the mindset of what they're where they are in their mind as they're on the platform. And lastly, you can use accurate data to target the audiences that you desire. Our members trust LinkedIn with a tremendous amount of their professional and educational data. And that allows you, as marketers, to find the audiences that you want to engage, enroll, and service throughout their entire student life cycle. And more than that, more than just enrolling students and targeting prospects, LinkedIn wants to become a platform that works with your university and your institution throughout the entire student journey. Whether it's trying to research schools and looking at your university pages, developing their profile, and once they actually enroll, helping them build their network, whether it's with faculty and administration, whether it's with their peers and their colleagues and their students. And once they've graduated and left your institution, we can help them find that first dream job. We can help them develop their career by building networks for them. And we can help them support causes. And this starts over again and again, as Jeff was talking about, that learning is no longer going to be an episodic venture, but it's going to be continuous, and this is going to continue over and over. And we want to be the platform that jogs alongside that student, becoming that professional, and becoming a student again. To that end, we're developing products and services to help all educational departments within your institution, not just marketing, although we're trying to build a lot of marketing products and build them to a point that at scale can help you deliver on your goals. But we're also developing things for career services. We're also developing things for admissions and for faculty and so on. And that's the vision. Now, what does that have to do with what we're doing with marketer ROI? And the two questions we wanted to go out and answer were, if there's this perception gap, what can we all do to prove the value of your educational offerings? And more importantly, how do you do this while boosting the ROI of your marketing investments? And that's what we went to set out and answer and do. Our approach was we took 3 bodies of research, and we commissioned 3 bodies of work. One, we wanted to understand what's the current state of affairs with marketer ROI today. And we'll go through some of those insights and findings. The second was we partnered with a forward-thinking educational institution, and we wanted to show what are the possibilities when you team up with LinkedIn to merge data and insights together in a secure way. What insights and possibilities does that unlock? And lastly, we looked at what role does trust play with respect to generating marketing ROI, and what's the effect of where your marketing and advertising appears with respect to the environments that you show them in. So let's start with the first one, which is around the state of ROI today. We did a 10-minute online survey. These results are for North America. However, we fielded the study globally. Those results will be coming later. And it was a 10-minute survey fielded by us, LinkedIn, on our platform for digital marketers that are on the LinkedIn platform. You can see that it was a little over 850 total marketers there in the center column. And we really screened for folks that had a responsibility for digital marketing specifically, either within a company, a university, or at a marketing or ad agency. Before I get started with some of the insights, I think this summed up how a lot of folks are feeling today. And you can see the quote from the executive director of digital marketing and comms at Bradley. This quote was, this individual said, "Our enrollment cycle takes place over a couple of years. And it's difficult to track ROI based on the enrollment KPI. And more than enrollment, one of the things that LinkedIn believes is that we have to look past enrollment. We have to look at, are graduates being successful? Are our students graduating? Are they getting that student outcome that they desire?" And so that's what we tried to go out and set about and answer. The first insight that we found when surveying all these digital marketers is that the importance of measuring ROI was marked extremely high, but no one feels like they're being successful. And it's interesting, if you look at the higher education industry on the right, over 60% of folks on a scale of 10, with 10 being the highest, marked measuring marketer ROI as an 8, 9, or a 10. And that same group only in the high teens said they were actually being successful at it. And the insight here is that it's that way across all other industries as well. If you look at other industries, if you look at the tech industry, if you look at professional services, which is made up of financial services, consulting companies, accounting companies, and so on, no one feels like they're nailing it and getting out of the park. So you are in good company. If you always feel like that you're not getting it done, no one really feels like they're getting it done. And so we said, wow, this is a massive gulf. Why is that? And one of the big contributors was that satisfaction with measurement platforms like technology today is extremely low. If you look at the higher ed industry, if you look at the folks that are saying, I am extremely confident with my ability to calculate ROI for my overall digital marketing efforts, in the teens. And on the bottom, if you look at the marketers who are confident in their ability to show attribution for all parts of the marketing funnel, single-digit percentage. And that crosses all the way across all of the other industries that we looked at as well. So don't feel so bad if you're trying to talk about multi-touch attribution and last touch attribution and which one is the best. No one's really nailing it today. This one's a little more complicated, but if you look at the marketing objectives across the top, horizontally, we looked at what were some of the, and we're happy to share this data after the talk, and this is going to be something that we can share with all the attendees. What were some of the key KPIs going down vertically that folks measured as part of their success for that particular objective? And for example, you can see for brand awareness, 66% of the digital marketing respondents said that engagement was their top KPI. And so on for, let's say, lead generation. In the middle, 68%, it was the number of qualified leads created. It was interesting to see how some of this lined up and did not line up with some of our expectations. But more than that, we wanted to answer the question, what are the successful marketers doing differently? What is it that they were focused on that made them part of that high teen percentage? Or for the folks that were able to measure multi-touch, what were they doing? And one of the things that we found was that successful marketers focus on things differently than their peers. One of the things that they do is that they have a very, very deep understanding, and they spend a lot of time understanding which of the metrics matter to them and move their respective enrollment cycles in business, and they optimize to those metrics maniacally. It's easy to get lost in measuring engagement versus visits to time on site versus lead conversion rates. But when you understand this is the KPI that I'm going after and this is the one that moves my business and we've all aligned it and studied it, that's what has separated successful marketers from their unsuccessful peers. Successful marketers are much more likely to measure digital ROI via some form of multi-touch attribution. They're quantifying the value of their mid-funnel and upper funnel and earlier stage advertising and marketing investments. If you look at the successful marketers, 66% of them said that they use some form of multi-touch attribution. Conversely, 40% of the folks who said that they're not successful didn't use an attribution methodology at all. So if you don't have one, there's probably a reason why you're not being very successful. And for whatever reason, this is a little puzzling for us. We found that media and ad agencies are much more satisfied across the board, whether it's from their ability to do brand awareness all the way through to retaining you as customers. They were much more confident in some of their efforts. I don't know what this really says, but I just thought it was funny to share. So that's the state of ROI today. I want to bring up Ricky Maxey, who's going to talk about some of the client work that we've done, as well as the role of trust. Ricky Maxey.
Thank you, Saeed. Appreciate all you guys coming today. I promise to be brief, bright, and then gone. So talking about ROI, it's a tough thing to do a lot of the time, and LinkedIn and higher ed and education in general are kind of in the same boat when it comes to ROI. We ask you guys to trust us, to look past things like CPC, CPL, cost per application, look at things like cost per enrollment, cost per graduation. You guys ask your students to trust you, understand that it's expensive up front, but know that we'll get you a job, a better job, the job you want, get you on the right career track. And we did some research with one of our trusted partners where we went into it not knowing what to expect, but the trends were actually very positive. And it proves a lot of the trust that you ask of your prospects. So from a methodology standpoint, we took about 20 years of data. We matched that data with emails. We provided sign-up dates and outcome information, and then our trusted partner provided transcript data and academic outcomes. We put it into a black box, had some of the best data scientists look at it and pull some trends out of it. And what we found were some great things, actually. So from an outcome standpoint, we saw nursing, IT, engineering. We saw a lot of those folks getting the jobs that they wanted and getting the jobs in the industries that they were actually studying for. We found that the jobs that they were getting were with some of the most brand name companies in the world that they wanted to work for. So some really exciting things that we saw. When you look at the next set of information, those who got master's degrees were on a management track and became manager. 1 in 5 became managers within 10 years. And then those that were learning technical skills, they were more employable and increasingly employable. And then from a LinkedIn standpoint, what does that mean? Individuals that had a LinkedIn profile prior to enrolling in this university were 2.5 more likely to graduate, and they graduated 25% faster. So when you think about that just from a resource standpoint, think about the resources and how you could be allocating those if you're allocating them to students that are graduating faster and that are graduating. That's some real ROI. And that's funds that can be taken and put into other areas and focusing that ROI. From an ad environment standpoint, so we did some research both on LinkedIn, and then a third party did some research just to show the value of what being on LinkedIn means. So looking at these two boxes, which gray box looks darker? I think we all know that the gray boxes are the same, but the context in which they're presented really gives you thought for hesitation, and that's true with advertising. So we asked a group of higher education intenders where they felt the most relevance was coming from an advertising standpoint when they saw an ad. And those felt that LinkedIn was significantly a significant better fit for higher ed advertising. When we take that a step further, I don't know if any of you saw the Business Insider study on trust. So we had nothing to do with this other than enjoy the results. But LinkedIn is significantly a more trusted social platform than other social media forms. Years ago, it was about brand safety, not wanting to be around certain content or around certain, on certain sites. We kind of saw this come up with YouTube recently. But again, trust is sort of the new brand safety, and it's extremely important. Taking that a step further, when looking at the specific ads on these sites, LinkedIn also scored extremely high on the ads not being intrusive, the information on the site being trusted, and then just the individuals feeling like they could trust the site with their information. So when you put your message on LinkedIn, it's not just about putting it on there because you get the best results. It's because it's going to be around trusted content. These individuals are going to be in the right mindset in order to engage with and digest the content, and they're more likely to take those next steps. From a methodology standpoint, when it comes to trust and what I was speaking about earlier, we did a test with both well-known brands and not so well-known brands. And when we put them on the platform, we saw a 30% lift across the brands, regardless of how well-known they are. So when you marry those two things of trust and relevance, the power is there and the ROI is there. So that's just a little bit of research that both we did and Business Insider did in order to show the value and, in the era of fake news, what trust and brand safety really does mean.